Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folare. My guest this morning is Mukhtar Mohammed. He's CEO of Finance with Mukhtar, an online finance blog. So they really have to be up to the second on all things finance. A fine morning to you, Mukhtar.
Thank you, Uncle Yori. Glad to be on your program.
My pleasure. And, well, I was saying you have to be up to the second, and this is, what, 72 hours or so late. But nevertheless, there will still be ripples, and we'll seek to be trying to understand it. First of all, it's been out there for the past 3 days, so a lot of ground has been covered. But there are areas that I wanted your perspective on. Mukhtar, what were we looking at in this country that we had 5,000 or more bureau de change? 5,000 or more. Now they're saying that, CBN has revoked the license of 4,173, so it's now left with about 1,000. Two things. One, why did we actually register for 5,000? Now that they've done what has been done, it's now come down to 1,000. Is that 1,000 still not too much?
Well, we have to ask ourselves, well, how did we get here? Remember, before now, the financial institution used to be the ones that deal on bureau de change, anything BDC. But they also did not clothe themselves in glory because of infringement that they did. So they then, government, I think this thing started during President Ibrahim Babangida, liberalized that sector and said, look, let's liberalize that sector. Mm-hmm. Let's have other players that will meet retail need. I say retail, in the fact that it's people that are traveling, people that are coming into the country. It should not be more than 4,000, should not be more than 5,000. That was the whole idea of BDCs in the initial. So that's why if you go to the bank, if you want to travel, if you have PTA or business travel allowance, BDA, PTA, they will just tell you it's either $5,000
that's right,
or $4,000. That was what the bureau de change were made to do. That's the type of business they were asked to do. But unfortunately, in this country, you know, when regulators are not up to their game, a lot of people now come in there and begin to do above and beyond. Now, how did we now start giving them? You know, it came to the time, at a crisis like this, I think sometime like that, then again, there's no access to Forex, the FX rate is going up again. And they came up with that. Okay, you know what? To stabilize this issue, we realize that the people are looking for FX are those that are wanting the 1,000, 2,000. Okay, let's create that market. Let's begin to supply the BDCs with FX so that they will take care of this. And they did it. And it started working. Now, they now saw that space. Now, what happened now, it became a gold mine. Because all you needed to know was to know somebody at CBN, was to know who you have to, and you set up a bureau de change. The license to setting up a bureau de change until maybe later was less than $1 million. Then it moved to 35 million. So it was easy for everybody. People that worked in TBN before, people that became retirees, people that were in the financial sector.
They could easily qualify.
They could easily qualify. So when you meet the criteria, in short, was there a criteria? Because ordinarily the criteria is that you must have an office, they must come and look at your office, you must have a spread, this is the office, you must give us returns on how FX is being given to you and who you sold to. There must be a complete documentation. But all
of that was promptly ignored.
And yet you were still supplying them. There was a time before we got to where we are now, during COVID. It was before COVID. We were still giving the bureau exchange 200 million naira weekly, and yet the rate was going up. They were not selling that. They were selling at an exorbitant rate. They were collecting at 350 at that time. They were selling above 500. And nobody seems to do anything.
Yeah.
So the CBN governor then came up and said, look, I revoke your licenses. Now, when Cardoso came into power, came in as the chairman into office. Let me not say power. Into office. Power only belonged to Ashuwachi. Into office. I expected a new dawn in terms of FX, which I saw. When he came in, he said, look, that is the sector we are really going to deal with. But at a point, you just started having secular one. I call it secular one, secular two, secular three. It became like secular every day. Every day, every week, CBN is coming up with secular. At a point, some of my friends said it has become Secular Bank of Nigeria. Secular were coming. Fine. That wasn't a problem.
Wasn't it?
Wasn't a problem. When we were bringing private, that we are like telling, look, modus operandi. Where all this modus operandi was there, but maybe they were not implementing it. You are not saying, this is our modus operandi. Fantastic. The circulars were coming. Then you now say, okay, let's go to the nitty-gritty of it now. How do you want it to operate? You have tier 1, capital base 2 billion, tier 2, 500 million. Fantastic. You are now beginning to put dots to the lines.
Yes.
So we said, okay.
What that does is it just automatically removes a lot of people. From the market. But let me go back to something you just said, Mukta. When you said circulars upon circulars were coming out, it seemed as if the CBN was making it up as it went along. Because one of the things that we have heard is that, well, now this measure, this latest Cardoso era measure, was to give CBN an insight into transactions and goings on in the parallel market. So that suggests that it's almost as if they didn't have a clue, really. They call it the black market. It was so dark that
it's very black.
But
we were very black, but it was enabled by them because they were the ones supplying. In Nigeria, you supply something and you call it black market, but yet we know who was supplying it to them. We say it's black market. It's only in Nigeria they will gun down somebody. It's a gunman that gunned him down. They say unknown gunman. So we have a lot of terminology to beautify whatever thing is going wrong in this country. Look, like I said, if you look at that sector critically, it was a conduit pipe to corruption. But each administration, nobody seems to do anything about it.
Because people were benefiting from it.
Exactly. He came, and you felt that, okay, fine, this is the right way to go. He came in there, and I agree, the structure was itself circular, then you came up and this one. What next? After you put the capital base, what I expected next from the CBN was to say, okay, there's some BDC that have been infringing on our, we revoke your licenses, you have to come and re-register. That is one. Then, the ones that have been good in your own books, if you have done the clear audit, you said, henceforth, from now henceforth, we are going to be giving you $20,000. These are the numbers of BDCs, and you will not go above, they say plus one, which is about like 13,000 naira above what we give to you. I mean, fantastic. Then, when you make that statement, the next day, let's see that money in the system.
Yes, because they must be digitally connected to central bank now.
To get it. Also, you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
This administration.
So this wasn't done before.
This administration.
They were operating.
You say fantastic.
The way they wanted.
Good. You see what I say now? You license. We are coming there. You license 1,300 and something bureau change. You say they are going to have $20,000 weekly, but you did not even look at their capability. So what did you do? If you are saying you want to license them, these are the bureau de change that have qualified for it. We are going to do it digitally. This and this and this and this is what you need. You should have called them to a meeting. You should have spoken to them. They must have had those structures in place before you even announce them. So in this administration, what I have seen about this current administration is that we want to give Uncle Yori 20 million. You announce it. We are giving Yori Folari 20 million. Everybody said, hey. Then you go back and sit down and say, so where are we going to get this money to give to Yori Folari?
That bad?
That bad.
Things were that bad?
No. I think they are not just, you see, there's a lot of event that has come over. They seem to overwhelm them, They were going on the right track, but when they see us Nigerian complaining, okay. They now retrace. Let me give you one. It's only in Nigeria it has happened. Let somebody quote me. Maybe that's when let somebody give me. At the time the Bureau de Change were doing FX at 1,400, 1,500, the CBN autonomous exchange market was doing at 800, I think the world they got to was 960. All of a sudden, instead of the Bureau de Change to adjust to meet up with the CBN autonomous own, the CBN adjust to meet up with them and ran to 1.5. Has it ever happened? You not create that gap. Is that the gap that we are trying to say we want to have a single exchange system? Instead of them coming to your real value. And before then, you the CBN governor, which is true, there's no reason why the naira to the dollar should be exchanging for 1,500.
Which is what it is around now.
So if you are the CBN governor, you know the actual value of your naira. Why can't you say, well, this is the actual value of my naira?
But he has said that it is grossly undervalued.
Yes, so you know the value.
That suggests.
So officially, you should maintain the value. Let me give you something about companies. When a company thinks its shares undervalued, what do? They go into the market themselves with their own fund and buy back. To
mopping up.
Mopping up. To say, my share is too cheap for you, so I want to mop up more. When the naira was undervalued, how much of the dollar did the CBN release to mop up the naira? To say, look, we are going to mop up the naira, we are going to add liquidity into the system. So we are going to come up with our liquidity and make sure that this is the actual rate of the dollar. So
was that as a result of just not knowing anything about it, or quite frankly, it was a matter of being clever?
The whole idea is the challenge with the FX thing, which the CBN governor have said time out, is liquidity. You don't have it. What you don't have, you can't give. You don't have it.
So the next question is, these measures, Mukhtar, are they going to make that much of a difference? Because the problem is what it is. The naira is where nobody, well, a lot of people, ordinary people, didn't imagine it could ever go there. It was nudging 2,000 the other time. It was nudging 2,000. Now they say, a lot has happened. It's come down to around yesterday. I think people were buying the naira for about, the dollar for about 1,500 and some change.
It was 1,600 close yesterday.
Yes.
At the time they were doing all this, that's why I said you do a system, you hit. You see, when it comes to economists, if you are making a pronouncement, you make sure that you are ready to implement it in speed of light.
Okay.
At the time they made that pronouncement that they were going to give Bureau de Change $20,000 at weekly, they named the number about 1,300 something Bureau de Change. They're going to give about $17.something million. They said when they made that announcement, the exchange rate moved from 1.8 to almost 1.4.
But they couldn't follow through.
They didn't follow through. And so now you now see the naira tumbling again. Because like I said speculators are part of any market. You cannot eliminate them. They are part of the financial market. If you buy stock today and you say it will go up tomorrow, you're a speculator.
Yes.
Government that is giving treasury bill and telling people I'll pay 20%, it's speculation because you're looking, if we do it like this, we will get more gain if we pay 20%, what we're going to implement. You're speculating.
And this speculation often causes distortions, doesn't it?
Distortion is part of the global market. And how do you address distortion? You as a regulator, you come up with policies that will create stability. Now, let me give you an example of distortion. Distortion in speculators are not interested in the fundamentals of your economy. Speculators are only interested in making the hot money. Now, how do you deal with them? You come out with better plan than them.
When you say making the hot money, do you mean striking while the iron is hot?
Exactly.
They see it, that this is an opportunity.
This is an opportunity.
You are dilly-dallying.
You are
not able to move. They move.
There's an opportunity for me to make money.
And they do.
They do it. There are people that are called market players, market speculators anywhere in the world. They look for opportunity, they strike. And they make their money and they cash out. They call them, they say, I've cashed out.
Yes.
So so what do? They strive by fear and greed. So you create the fear in them. And the greed will come in them. Either they stay there or they want to run away.
Which means you really, really have to be on the ball. And this is the point you were making, that the CBN was not apparently nimble enough.
They were not nimble enough.
To be able to follow up.
They allowed the difference to be so wide. before they begin to come up with these measures. At a time, it was 500, 700, 800. JB Morgan, we made one tactical error when they came in, and I thought he was looking at corporate governance. That was the beginning of the fall of the Naira. How? When they came, they said the CBN released audited report. Before then, when President Tinubu came up with his floating, with his removal, all foreign investors were getting ready to come into Nigeria. Mm-hmm. Well, immediately you publish the audited report of CBN. And then JB Morgan came out with an analysis on that. Nigeria does not even have 33 billion. By the time you remove all these things, we have 3 billion. That was the beginning of the end of the Naira. Go quote me. That was when the Naira started tumbling. So, the speculators say, oh, wow, they don't even have enough money to even float. Because in floating the Naira, let's get it clear, no economy, no central bank in the world just float, leave their currency for market forces.
Yes.
You cannot do that. Market forces are there to make money. So they will make money out of you. They don't look at the fundamentals. They look at what can I get. So what they do in the developed economy, you know the exact price of your currency. So when it's going above that, you intervene in terms of liquidity. If CBN has the liquidity, when the Naira was moving, remember that they said they even, I'm sure the Ministry of Finance and the CBN must have been working together. Budget. What was the benchmark? Remember that the exchange rate benchmark for the budget was 750. We're already floating. It was 750. Then the legislators, in their own wisdom, said, no, let's move it to 800. So that means the true value of the Naira, via legislator, Ministry of Finance, and CBN should be 800. So if it's moving above that, what do? You intervene. You allow market forces to determine, because market forces is demand and supply. So when your Naira begin to suffer a decline, that means demand is high, supply is low. So flood it. Unfortunately, there was no liquidity to flood it. So we were now at the mercies of market forces. And they started striving. Okay. And they were moving.
Now, as you know, every Nigerian knows, he doesn't need to know anything about finance to know that there is no money, meaning really that his Naira has become almost worthless. What he was able to do with a Naira, he now needs 2 or 3 Naira to be able to do the same. And we haven't even factored in what is this new Bitcoins, the whole Bitcoin sector.
That was
Binance, as you know.
That was a killer joy.
Well,
so you see, what Binance did to the management team of Cardoso was what Aboki FX did to Emefiele.
Okay, because they don't have a clue of what's going on with Binance.
Let me tell you something, sir. What happened in the same of Binance?
Sorry, sir. They demanded, I understand the NSA and his people, they demanded a list of the Nigerians who had been, transacting on Binance. Those people were not about to give it.
Because that is the modus operandi of the cryptocurrency. That is the modus operandi. There's no corporate governance. There's no disclosure. That is why China will not allow them. That is why the UK will not allow them. That's why Canada will not allow them. That's why the United States, as it stands now, they pay the highest finding rate that every financial corporate organization have ever paid to the U.S. government, $4.9 billion on infringements.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That was a record high.
Record high. Because the back end, I'm trading, I don't know who I'm trading to. That's not it. That's why Security and Exchange Commission, any place in the world, said if we cannot regulate you,
yes,
you cannot play in our space.
What you've just said takes me back to this new regulation that we're trying to do. Part of it is that there shall be records of all the bureau de change. There shall be records of what your transactions were like, who you sold to.
I like what Yemi Cardoso is doing. If you want to stop corruption, you go digital. He's not telling those, look, we are going to have these effects. We are going to give you $20,000, but we are going to do it electronically.
Yes.
And your transaction with individual also must be electronically.
Okay.
If I am traveling, if I come with my ticket and my documentation, all right, I need $4,000, you give me $500 cash, and the remaining $4,000 must be in, $3,500 must be in a card. Fantastic.
Okay.
Some banks have already started it before now.
Because that will give
easy monitoring.
Yes, easy monitoring. Because the CBN wants an insight into what's going on in those dark corridors.
Once you do that, now, fantastic, it starts working.
But the people who are playing the crypto market, they don't.
Let me tell you what happened. What happened? You know, before now, Nigerians want to look at the exchange rate, especially our brothers offshore. They will first of all go to, when you tell them that, no, the exchange rate is so and so, they say, bro, that's official. Let's go to Aboki FS. We'll go there. Aboki FS will tell them 450. It's 450. Because the CBN that is supposed to be where they will go and say, if you look for an exchange rate between the pounds and the euro, where do you go? You go to the bank, the Central Bank of American website. They will tell you what the exchange rate is. That's what, and they will display it in every bank. But in our own case, they didn't do that. Now, with Binance, what happened was that, you know, the youth populations are crypto friendly.
Yes.
And we have them here. In short, they have been proved Nigeria is the largest cryptocurrency trading nation. Now, what happened is, these young men want to make money, quick money, and they didn't believe in the naira. So another thing that happened to the naira, people lost trust. They didn't see the naira as a currency of value. That's a topic for another day, because it's not only the youth, even our financial institutions, most of them, even our well-to-do, even investors, most Nigerians, they, at a point they were just changing their naira. Say, look, let me just have my dollar. I don't want naira. So what Binance knew that, okay, we are having so much of this naira. We don't know how we are going to exchange it. So what do? When you bring it and the official rate, the parallel market, I don't like using the black market. The parallel market is doing 700. They say, you know, we are not even sure we get it in the parallel market. So they put it at 1,000. Give us naira, but the exchange rate to the dollar of the naira you're going to give us is 1,000. He said, okay, fine. They put it on their PS2 platform. And so what happened now? Remember that money, they will come to our parallel market to exchange it. Our parallel market players too, people that think Aboki do not have sense to. We go to the PS2 and say, how much are they exchanging naira? That became the official exchange rate. That's where we are.
And everybody.
So the demand for it was high from this our youth cryptocurrency trader.
Yes.
The demand was high.
You're calling it youth. Even some elders are beginning to learn it. Say, wait, is this where the thing is happening now? Let me begin to, even though a lot of them are burning their fingers, but, you know, they are learning it. Now, another thing is that, isn't it, people like Binance, these are the people that allow currencies to flow, because you don't need a currency anymore. You don't need any digital wallet. You don't need to carry money. And this is the one thing you spoke about, how China and the likes of them, that is the last thing they want to, you know.
You know, in economics, simple economics, a value of a company is determined by the asset base of that company. Simple term economics. I look at, you call any bank in Nigeria, you can see their assets, you can see what the business they are doing,
Exactly.
You can tie it to their product, you can tie it to their value.
It's transparent.
It's transparent. When you talk of crypto, it's based on perception.
Yes. And secrecy.
And what no financial instrument will succeed based on perception without fundamentals.
Well, I'm going to come back to that. Let me bring in Mr. George, who has called in from Ikeja. Good morning, and thank you for holding on.
Good morning, Uncle Yuri.
Good morning.
Good morning to Mukhtar.
Good morning, George.
Uncle Yuri, I wonder why Mukhtar has not been talking against the bank MDs in the roles they play in round-tripping the dollar. They will receive money from CBN and be round-tripping it. I expect, as vibrant as Mukhtar is in the public space, for him to hammer on that. But in most platforms I see him talk, maybe he used to forget. We need a daring CBN governor that can deal with these people. He needs to remove about half of the bank CEOs. They are not supposed to be there. They are the culprits. That is the simple truth of the matter. Uncle Yori and Mukta, you will agree with me that we are in emergency financial time. If you ask me, the bureau de change should be cleared off. We don't need them for now. Let everybody that needs foreign exchange go to the bank. Even if it is at the airport, most banks have branches at the airport that can always sell to travelers. And then you hold the bank CEOs at the jugular. If the CBN, we need somebody like, the current CBN government can do it. But it needs to be more daring and challenge these people. If we don't do that, we will continue to go around the same gate. That's the only way I think it can be done.
Okay.
And then if you catch somebody, use them to, show others that it is not business as usual.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there are a group of people who want to make sure that nothing works in this country, and they are behind all these guys. If you want to deal with them, if you want the system to work, you must brace up to deal with these people. This is the way I see it.
All right, Thank you very much for calling in.
George,
yes.
George have said, I don't attack bank MDs. But when you talk about market forces, they are part of the market forces. The financial institutions are part of the market forces. And again, when you look at the banks are there to make money for their shareholders. Any loophole they see, they will take advantage of it. Now, if you are the regulator, so indirectly, if the bank's MD are culpable, that means the regulators are culpable. Because it's as easy to deal with them than even dealing with the bureau de change. He's not talking about, remember when Emefiele revoked the license of the bureau de change, he said, you cannot get FX if you are traveling through the banks. But you must come with your ticket, they will vet it. In short, the CBN now created a platform on their website where you put your ticket, when you are going, when you are coming, everything you do it online and send it to them. The CBN will approve it and send it to the bank for the bank to pay.
How well did that work?
It didn't work well.
It didn't work well. On that note,